My name is Orion Fredericks, and I'm a manifester of my imagination. Performance fire sculpture implies that you are actually controlling the life of this sculpture that is using the medium of fire to express something. So now you're talking about it being an instrument. If you came across the twins or one of my other fire pieces, I think the first thing your senses would input would be heat, which usually draws people closer. However, you get a little closer and then you see the intense flame that is either generated from the inside or is traveling along the surface, is coming out of the gills, out of the horns, out of the quills of the piece. This is the infamous Thermo-Kraken. It is 26-foot tall performance fire sculpture. Each pincer element has a control panel that allows you to control its voice through combustion and flame. And then the primary blossom on the very top middle has a forced air component of a turbine engine from an old military helicopter. Another find in the Bay Area that you're just not going to find out in the rural woods. I failed physics in high school and was never really much into math either. And it was only until I had a hands-on experience with materials that everything, all the science aspect came into view, and I just devoured that and ingested it and practiced it until I figured it out. Beep, beep. Beep. Steady as she goes. This piece here, with this metal piece in the center of the base, is what inspired me to name it Echeveria, which is a form of cactus. Super thorny thorn, you know. It erupts in a green, dripping flame that spreads through the rocks. It's kind of cool. And this entire piece glows bright red orange. That piece also gets bathed with water on the 2,000-degree surface, so it turns into this big steam bath, like the water vapor mist around it as well, which is really nice. The sound goes a lot along with how the thing can be played as an instrument. The glass piece I'm about to put on is inspired the name Springwater. How you doing, darling? I recently stopped working a day job and am now making my art full-time. Since I have been self-employed of making my own art, I've been struggling to create things that people want, but at the same time, I can only really make things that I want to make. It's been a real struggle learning small business and marketing, and that's one thing that every artist who wants to survive on their own needs to know. And they will learn it hook or by crook if they want to survive. And I am in that process. Oh, yeah. Wally, what have you? Since I can only afford to eat a meal a day, this whole thing was built on scrap and budget. The only thing I bought in materials for this whole thing was the 2 4x8 sheets that were necessary to make this shape. And the rest was all found or recycled or material. This is an interesting piece, a find, obtainium, as we call it in Oakland. This is a box from Mead's school that used to have a film projector in it. And I really like the box, and I like things that have a history of their own, so I wanted to kind of preserve the integrity of it. But I also wanted to make a small, compact control panel for the fountain. This takes the multi-pin. I don't blame other artists for not finishing a piece because they don't have an instrumental component to realize their vision, or the resource of the time, or the assistance, or the know-how, for that matter. And that's what keeps, you know, the creative types up at night, neurotic, paranoid, and grinding their teeth all the time. Woohoo! Good, the light works. Now let's fill it with water and pray it doesn't leak. Every new piece breaks a certain amount of times until you know, figure out what needs to be fixed about it. It teaches you what it needs, and then, you know, it likes you for it. Holy goodness! What's that about? Oh, okay. My drain was open. Well, that's good to know. Since I was young, I felt that the things in my head should have the ability to instantly be reality. And because they weren't, I felt somewhat gypped in life. But at the same time, I consider myself extremely lucky to create what I can. I think art is doing anything with intention. One of the largest components, I think, that inspires me to make pieces like this is to create something that inspires dialogue, physical and audio and sensory dialogue with the piece itself, but also you can't really tell where it's coming from, where the idea is coming from, what is making it work. And that mystery is something that I try to bring out of all my pieces. I think there's something to be said for interacting or encountering elemental, sublime beauty. I think I have been moving towards more and more dangerous work the past few years. More and more dangerous work that at the same time was dangerous, but what I was trying to express was a new language of elemental music, music made with fire. I am confident that my logical mind will find a way to catch up to my imagination. Usually there's a huge gap. There's some deep end, of bottomless pit waters, dark and deep. I don't know how I'm going to get to the other side of the pool, but I feel confident that I'll figure that out. And I just put a lot of time into letting the answers come to me and using those to build a bridge to the destination of where my imagination is sitting on the little island going, where you been, man? And sometimes it's not necessarily the same island I had my sights on, but it's where the answers have provided me to go. And I have to be confident in that is where I should be, and that's what I believe in. And I think that's the only way the bridge can really manifest.